Welcome. First of all, welcome. This is Unsolicited Perspectives. I'm your host, Bruce Anthony, here to lead the conversation in important events and topics that are shaping today's society. Join the conversation and follow us wherever you get your audio podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch our video podcast. Rate, review, like, comment, share. Share with your friends, share with your family, hell, even share with your enemies. On today's episode, I'm going to be dilly-daddling a little bit. Then I'm going to be talking about an altercation between an NFL player and the police. And then I'm going to be talking about riding bikes naked. But that's enough of the intro. Let's get to the show. Trump said they eating cats and dogs, y'all. That's what this man literally said during the presidential debate. Now, a lot of people had no idea what he was talking about because these claims have been permeating on the right-wing white supremacist social media network. I know you're probably thinking I'm talking about Truth Social, but no, I'm talking about X, formerly Twitter. And now we can officially call it X instead of Twitter. Twitter, you got a blue check mark because you were vetted. People knew who you were credible. Now you can buy a blue check mark, and the only thing that's on X, well, the thing that really, really populates X are hate, right-wing, white supremacist hate. Anywho, that's where these claims basically come from. So let me give everybody a backstory who don't know where this comes from. Recently, Springfield, Ohio, has been in the spotlight due to false claims made by the former president Donald Trump during his presidential debate. Trump alleged that Haitian immigrants in Springfield were abducting and eating pets, such as dogs and cats. Here's the catch. However, these claims have been debunked by local authorities and fact checkers. The city of Springfield and its police department have stated that there is no evidence to support these allegations. The falsehoods have caused fear and unease among both the immigrant community and longstanding residents. The Haitian community in Springfield has grown significantly in recent years, contributing to the city's economic renewal. Many immigrants were drawn to Springfield by job opportunities and the city's affordability. Despite the challenges and miscommunication, community leaders are working to address the real issues and to promote unity. Now, why did Trump say this? Trump said this because he's a dog whistler. He's a dog whistler. Oh, I like that. Trump is a dog whistler. What works in this country is stroking white fear. Now, a lot of people that are white that are listening to this podcast and watching it may not understand what I mean by stroking white fear. Stroking white fear is telling you anything that is not you is something that you should be afraid of, even if you shouldn't be afraid of it. But they're stroking this fear in order to get a response that's favorable to the people that are purposely trying to create this fear. So Republicans are saying immigrants are coming here and they're causing crime and they're a drain on the economy and that there's nothing good about it. And especially immigrants of color, because nobody is saying this from Eastern Europeans that are immigrating from here, right? They're only saying it about people from Central and South America and the Caribbean, or if you're Muslim, or even if you're not Muslim, if you come from the Middle East, because there's a lot of people that don't understand that just because you come from the Middle East doesn't mean you're Muslim. Do you guys know that there are some actual Christian and Jewish Palestinians? Goes all the way back to the early 1900s. This is true. So these are things that you guys might not know about because certain organizations and groups, the GOP, are purposely trying to stroke your fear. And it's been something that's been done in this country repeatedly over and over and over and over and over again to gain control. This country was once a country that literally threw women into the river. If they floated, they were witches. If they drowned, they weren't witches. Guess what? They were going to die either way, right? They were going to die either way. This is a country that believes in conspiracy theories. And me being a black man cannot say that this is purely a white person thing, because black people are some of the biggest conspiracy theorists that there are out there. But our conspiracies kind of make sense. Oh, they're trying to kill black men. Well, there's been a history of this country killing black men. And let's not even get into the Tuskegee incident. So there's reasons for our having conspiracy theories, but saying that Haitian people are eating dogs and cats, and if you go on the white supremacist right wing social media site X, this is being pushed all throughout this network. So much so that Elon Musk posts about it, Donald Trump posts about it, Ted Cruz posts about it, JD Vance brought it all up. I mean, these are your politicians, but look at where it's coming from. Look at where this information is coming from and ask yourself, why are they trying to stroke white fear? Why are they trying, for my white people out there? Because people of color already know this. Well, some of us. Some of us has fallen into that sunken place. And if you don't know what the sunken place is, watch the movie Get Out. Even though it's a horror flick, it could be true. You know what I'm playing? It can't be true, but it could be, but it's not true. I don't know. Maybe. But for all my white people out there that are trying to be like, well, no, they're not stroking white fear. They're actually telling the truth. They're not telling the truth. They're lying to you. And even the people that are in charge in the city, the police department, all these people have come out and said this isn't true. Now, if you go on X, sure enough, you could find a video that's been manipulated or edited to show you, oh, people are out here eating cats and dogs. No, they're not. Right. And also that young boy that was killed in the car accident in Ohio was not killed by a Haitian immigrant, just a regular old person here, American citizen, regular old car accident. So be careful about what you get and the information that you receive. And if it sounds like it's a complete BS, it probably is, but it was still funny as hell when Trump said they're eating the cats and dogs. And then the moderator said, no, that's not true. And we have fact checked this. And we've gotten information from the local authorities that disprove all this. And Trump's response, well, I've seen it on TV. And that's the man that's running for president of the United States again, because he was already president for once. Whoa! And I got to tell you, my first election that I voted in was 2000, and I thought W was dumb. Coming to find out, W ain't that dumb. The dumbest president that we've ever had, Donald J. Trump. I was reading something recently. I said this was going to be a dilly-daddling segment, and I'm dilly-daddling. I was reading something recently about energy drinks. And I joke on my bestie because we were out one Saturday or Sunday, and it was 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And we were out in this downtown area, and we stopped in a 7-Eleven because I needed to get chapstick and I needed something to drink. I needed some Gatorade because we had been drinking all afternoon and I needed to hydrate myself. And instead of her getting a Gatorade, she got a Celsius. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what a Celsius is, it's an energy drink. And she just turned 40, right? She's just 4 years younger than I am. And I'm looking at her like, are you crazy? It is 4 hours away from bedtime. How can you drink an energy drink right now? And she was like, I like it. It doesn't affect me. And I just thought that was fascinating because I can't drink an energy drink that late. But I came across an article or some news information that's been flooding my timeline about energy drinks because I'm not above drinking energy drinks. I drink an energy drink that's a pre-workout mix for my workouts, but it's still an energy drink, right? So what are some of the dangers of energy drinks? Well, one, they have a high caffeine content. Energy drinks often contain high levels of caffeine, which can lead to increased blood pressure, irregular heart rhythms, and in severe cases, heart failure. Those are kind of like big things, right? There's also sugar overload. Many energy drinks are loaded with sugar, contributing to weight gain, dental problems, and increased risk of diabetes. See, here's a thing that people don't really realize with sugar, right? People focus on weight gain and diabetes, but also sugar rots your teeth. And as somebody who is deathly afraid of his teeth falling out, and I know it's going to happen sometime because it happens to just about every old person. It's the evolution of life, right? You're born without teeth. You get little baby teeth. They fall out. You get adult teeth. Eventually, they fall out, and you don't have no teeth again, just like you were when you were born, and then you die. That's the evolution of life. No teeth, baby teeth, adult teeth, no teeth, death. And I'll be ready to go once I don't have any teeth. All right. I know that they've come up with creative ways to do dentures and things of that nature. No, thank you. I want my real teeth. And that's something that people don't really realize. When you take in excess amount of sugar, it affects your teeth. But going back to the energy drinks also have other stimulants. Besides caffeine, energy drinks may contain other stimulants like ginseng, taurine, other ingredients that are actually stimulants. And while these ingredients can have some health benefits purely on their own, combined all together in these energy drinks and combined with caffeine can become problematic. There's mental health effects. And I know what people are thinking. How can energy drinks affect your mental health? Well, regular consumption of energy drinks has been linked to anxiety, nervousness, and insomnia. Now, all of that makes perfect sense, right? What is caffeine? Caffeine is an upper. It's a stimulant. It's meant to give you energy. Too much caffeine can make you jittery, right? Think of Tweak from South Park, right? Think of anybody who just drinks a lot of coffee that's bouncing off of walls. When you have that type of stuff, it can create anxiety. If you don't already have anxiety, you may also be consuming these drinks because you are an anxious person. Maybe they calm you down, which is odd, but it's true, right? Of course, it would create nervousness if it creates anxiety because those two things go hand in hand. And also, once again, it's a stimulant. So, of course, it can affect your sleep. That's the reason why I was looking at my bestie like she was crazy for drinking a Celsius at 6 o'clock at night because I'm thinking to myself, hey, look, that Celsius would keep me up to 3 o'clock in the morning. It's happened to me before. Another thing that energy drinks can do is can lead to dehydration. Energy drinks can cause dehydration, especially when consumed in large quantities or combined with alcohol. Hey, y'all remember when we was crazy as hell and drinking Red Bulls and vodkas? I was one of them. I used to do it. How the hell do you mix a stimulant with a depressant? I was sleepy and wide awake at the same time. It's the craziest thing in the world, but also that goes into your mental health as well, right? If you're trying to go to sleep and you can't because you are sleepy because you were drinking a depressant, but then you're drinking the stimulant that's keeping you up because there's caffeine, you're just laying in the bed and your body doesn't know what the hell it wants to do. Energy drinks can also lead to potential for substance abuse. There is a concern that energy drinks may lead to substance abuse, particularly among young people. And you would think to yourself, well, how could that be? Once again, it's a stimulant. It's an upper. And sometimes it can keep you up when you know that you need to rest. So what do? You take downers to go to sleep. As y'all know, I'm a big fan of wrestling, and this is something that they say that happens to them all the time. They were taking uppers during the day and taking downers at night just so they could be up during the day to work and then go to sleep when they needed to go to sleep. And eventually it becomes a problem. Now, I know a lot of people are talking about, well, Bruce, what's the difference between energy drinks and coffee? Well, I told you earlier that energy drinks have other stimulants in there. And while they do have health benefits by themselves, combined together with the caffeine can cause some problems. I'm not saying drinking energy drinks is a problem. I drink one every day, except for Sundays. Now that I think about it, every now and then I have, a Celsius on Sundays, when I just want to splurge before my Sunday fun day. But 6 days a week, I have an energy drink. And it's not an 8-ounce can, it's a 12-ounce can, 16-ounce can, right? So it's a lot of caffeine in there. And, I got to be careful with my high blood pressure. I'm getting older and all that type of stuff. This is stuff that I need to worry about. But what is the difference between, other than the stimulants, what is the difference in the caffeine content between a cup of coffee and an energy drink? On average, a cup of coffee has slightly more caffeine than an 8-ounce energy drink, right? Now, are you drinking an 8-ounce energy drink or a 16-ounce energy drink? However, energy drinks often contain those other stimulants that I was talking about, which enhance the overall stimulating effect. What was the point of all of this? The point of all of this is just telling you, hey man, there is nothing wrong with drinking an energy drink. I drink them too. But just like anything in life, be careful, because it could be affecting you in ways you didn't even realize. And isn't that something that we all should be aware of? That's my TED Talk for today. But up next, there was a confrontation between an NFL player and the police. And I'm going to get into that next. So last Sunday was the first Sunday of the NFL season. And as I finished filming the sibling happy hour with my sister that airs on Tuesdays, I prepared for my Sunday fun day. And now Sunday fun day includes NFL football because I decided to reinvest my interests back into sports. My getaway, even if it's just playing in the background along with my music and video games and a lot of stimulants going on Sunday, y'all, my Sunday fun day. But back to the story at hand. Football, right? I'm back into it. So after I filmed the show, I start preparing my brunch along with my champagne, my Gatorade and champagne mixed together. Got to stay hydrated. Football is on, and jumping across the screen is a situation where they're showing a smaller black man being pulled over by the police. And I'm like, this is the red zone. Why are they showing this? What does this have to do with anything? So went to the Google machine. Sure enough, one of the first stories popped up and it piqued my interest. So I'm going to give you guys a little backstory if you don't understand what's going on. Tyreek Hill, the Miami Dolphins wide receiver, was pulled over by Miami-Dade police just outside Hard Rock Stadium on September 8th, 2024, before the Dolphins season opener. He was pulled over before the start of the game. He's going to the stadium for the first game of the season, and he's pulled over. The police cited him for speeding and reckless driving, estimating, this is key, no speed gun, estimating he was traveling at 60 miles per hour in a 40 to 45 miles per hour zone. Hill was also cited for driving without a license. Okay, that's, you driving without a license, that's a pretty big deal. But they wouldn't have known that you was driving without a license unless they pulled you over. And it pulled you over because you were going 15 to 20 miles over the speed limit. Okay, I mean, yeah, you should get pulled over for that, right? However, the situation escalated with Hill being handcuffed and placed face down on the pavement. Hill later expressed his concern that if he weren't a famous football player, the outcome could have been much worse. The incident was captured on body camera footage, which has been widely shared on social media. The Miami-Dade Police Department has launched an internal affairs investigation, and at least one officer has been placed on administrative duties. Hill admitted that he could have handled the situation differently, but insisted he was cooperative with police. Two of Tyreek Hill's teammates were present at the scene. One of them, Calais Campbell, stopped by to try and de-escalate the situation, but was also handcuffed by the police. The interactions between the police and Hill's teammates were tense, and Hill mentioned that the officer had some harsh words towards him. Okay. I'm going to stop there before I finish the rest of the story, just to kind of give you a synopsis of what happened and what was circulating on Sunday, and then what I saw on Monday on the body cam footage, right? So what I saw on Sunday were cops pulling Hill out of a car, handcuffing him, manhandling him, slamming him down to the ground. His teammates just driving by, seeing the situation, checking in to see what's going on, one of them being handcuffed. This is all happening the day of the game, the morning of the game. These are all black men. Now, a lot of people are going to say to defend the police, because there's always going to be people out there to defend the police and want to give police complete immunity from any type of prosecution. That's what Donald Trump is running on, right? That are going to say Hill should have been less assholey. He was a smart ass when they pulled him over. And in this regard, he was telling them, hey, look, I got to go to work. Just give me my ticket and let me go. Just give me my ticket so that I can go to work. He didn't say, do you know who I am? They found out after they had slammed him around that, oh, this isn't just a regular black man. This is the star football player for the Miami Dolphins, who was rated the best NFL player by the players, right? So all of his peers think that he is the absolute best player. Being slammed down to the ground, and as he's being slammed down to the ground, I'll get into the other part because I want to also tell you what was happening in the body cam footage. But some people that are going to defend the police are going to say, well, these weren't white cops, and they weren't white cops. Nobody ever says that there's only white cops that are disproportionately discriminatory against people of color. We always say it's an institution. There are black cops that beat the hell out of people of color as well. It's an institution that's ingrained. The institution is racist because you must understand how the institution was first established. The first policing were slave catchers. That's how policing started, to catch runaway slaves. Not to say it's the same thing, but it ain't that much difference. So Monday, the Miami-Dade Police Department released the body cam footage, and we got a little bit more information because basically it was all other people on the streets cell phone footage that we saw on Sunday. On Monday, they released the body cams, and you saw the interaction with the police, and you saw that the police officer was rude as hell and really was in love with his power and authority and abused it. And when they cuffed Calais Campbell, Tyreek Hill's teammate, one officer, before they cuffed him, said, all right, just get in your car and go. Because he had pulled over to check and see what's going on. One officer said, go ahead and get in your car and go. And then another officer was saying, no, you stay right here and you give me your ID. So you have multiple officers giving different directions. And this unarmed black man has to respond to those directions in in a manner that is escalating by the police, right? It's the police that are not de-escalating. They are escalating the situation because they didn't like the way Tyreek Hill was talking. They felt that they were being disrespected. So they escalated the situation, giving out multiple different orders and commands, and it could have gone left real fast. And these were NFL players. All right. What happened after all this? The Dolphins organization has called for swift and strong action against the officers involved. Tyreek Hill himself has called for the officers involved to be fired, particularly due to the way his teammate Calais Campbell was treated during the incident. And yes, they're giving him, Calais Campbell, multiple orders that are conflicting. And Calais Campbell is a big man. He's a giant man. We want to say, I don't know, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", 300 pounds. He's not a small man, right? And they cuff him. Things could have gone left. He could have been shot. Just because he pulled over to check in on his teammate that was being detained by the police for an estimated 60 miles per hour. Once again, there was no speed gun. For an estimated 60 miles per hour speed that would have been 15 to 20 miles per hour over the speed limit. And it could have gone left really easily. So a lot of people are defending the cops because that's what people are going to do, especially because it's an interaction with cops and people of color. It once again on that right wing, white supremacist social media network X. It doesn't take much for you to log in. Just type in Tyreek Hill incident or Tyreek Hill. It'll pop up and you'll see the comments and you'll see the faces. They always got an American flag in the background, which, by the way, I am so happy that Kamala Harris has been prominent, especially during the convention, of using the American flag, because too long it has been a tool of Republicans, and it was starting to mean like the Confederate flag to me. I'm gonna be real honest, because the people that are associated that are always waving the flag tend to be right-wing Republicans that voted for Trump. And I'm sorry, you don't want to hear this, but it's true. If you voted for Trump, if you're going to vote for Trump, either you yourself are a racist, or racism just isn't a big deal to you. That's it. Don't talk to me about, oh, but the economy, I vote my pocketbook. Unless you are ultra rich, that's not the case for you. You don't know economics. Plain and simple. But okay. Yeah. So what's the law when you get pulled over? Specifically in the state of Florida, because I was curious. You are required to provide your name and identification documents, right? You ain't got to do nothing else. You don't have to be nice. You could be an asshole. Those things are not breaking the law. A cop's job is not to be, I don't know, put on this pedestal like he can't be spoken to like a normal human being. His job is to serve and to protect their job, excuse me, because it's men and women. That's their job. Not escalate a situation. And I found this really funny because Tyreek Hill has been getting a lot of support. And that's a beautiful thing, because it was a wrong situation. Was he speeding? Yes. Give him his ticket and let him go on about his job. Okay. There also is an aspect of he was speeding. He's a black man in a $200,000 car that's going to draw you attention. Cops are on the lookout because stereotyping, right? Which shouldn't be the case because it's Miami, but they're stereotyping. But he's been getting a lot of support. And I think that's beautiful, right? That is beautiful that we are getting to the point where even though you have certain segments of the population that are going to always defend the police, no matter what the situation, there are people out there still defending the police over George Floyd, over Breonna Taylor. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But there are always going to be those people. You can't convince those people. And there's no getting through to them until something bad happens to them. And then their beliefs are shaken because they didn't expect it to happen to them. They expected it to happen to those people, but not them. But as I was watching the support for Tyreek Hill, something came flooding to my memory. And it was Colin Kaepernick. Some of y'all may not remember Colin Kaepernick because it was about 8 years ago. But you know me, I'm going to give you a brief history on Colin Kaepernick and why it's so important to this story. Colin Kaepernick had a stance, and his stance was centered around protesting racial injustice and police brutality. He began kneeling during the national anthem in 2016 to draw attention to these issues. Kaepernick's actions were a form of peaceful protest aimed at highlighting systemic problems within law enforcement and advocating for significant reforms. Now, there's a lot of people that are going to be saying you support the military. To my knowledge, the national anthem is not the military's fight song. It's America's theme song, but not the military's fight song. That was always used as a ploy, right? Don't pay attention to what he's saying. Don't pay attention to what he's bringing attention to. Let's divert that attention and bring it to something else that nobody can deny. Who's going to say that they don't support the military? If you could give me people that say that they don't support the soldiers, they don't always like the actions of our government using our military, they don't always like the fact that that budget for the military is ridiculous and some of that money could be used elsewhere. I am a person that supports our soldiers, that actually supports the military, that supports the vets, not the corporations that are bilking us and charging us because we're buying their weapons. That's not the military. The military are the people. And if you support the military, then you would be a fan of Jon Stewart and his fight for veterans' rights, because that's supporting the military. And here's the crazy thing. Colin Kaepernick said that he wanted to protest during the national anthem. He talked to a soldier, somebody that was in the military and an NFL player. And the NFL player said, "Hey, look, man, I don't really like this, but if you want to show respect to us, you at least got to take a knee. That's how you show respect to us." But once again, white fear. A black man was taking a stance on racial injustices, and he was blackballed by it. People even said when he couldn't get another quarterbacking job that he wasn't good enough. This was a man 2 seasons before that led his team to a Super Bowl game. But now all of a sudden, he's not good enough. I actually had people that I know said he's not good enough. And I was like, you don't watch football. You don't even understand what you're talking about. You're just regurgitating something that you heard from somebody else. You don't know the truth. Colin Kaepernick was a bad, bad boy. And I mean bad as in good. He was a beast out there on the field. And he was blackballed for bringing up the very issue that's something that Tyreek Hill faced. And you want to know what's crazy? When Colin Kaepernick took the knee and he was blackballed, it was 2016. What's happened since 2016? Well, since Colin Kaepernick took his protest in 2016, several systemic problems in law enforcement have continued to be highlighted. Police violence and accountability. Here's an example. There have been numerous incidents of police violence, particularly against Black individuals. The same thing he was talking about, right? For example, the killings of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd in 2020 finally sparked widespread protests and calls for police reform. Despite the calls, there remains to be a system lack of accountability and transparency for police conduct. Case in point, Donald Trump just trying to give them immunity. Let them be able to do whatever they want to do. And here's the crazy thing, right? Even the military can't do whatever they want to do. Soldiers can't go do whatever they want to do. And other countries, when they F up, they get brought to court. Remember, there was a whole TV show about it. Remember the TV show Jag, where they was talking about the lawyers and the military and them trying different. Yeah, that's the whole. There's accountability. There is accountability, but you don't want to give accountability to police officers. These people aren't even chosen for the job. They wake up one morning, or maybe it was a lifelong dream. I don't know. But they decide that they want to be police officers. They go through some type of training and then they become a police officer. And that's what it is. And you want to give them no accountability for their actions. That's what Donald Trump is running on. So not only did we have Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, don't forget Dante Wright. On April 11th, 2021, Dante Wright was fatally shot by a police officer during this traffic stop in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. The officer claimed she mistook her gun for a taser. For a taser. And for those people out there that are saying, white people get arrested too, you're absolutely right. It's not all Black people getting arrested, but what are the racial disparities in arrests? Black people are disproportionately affected by police actions. In 2016, Black individuals were arrested at a rate of 2.12 times that of white individuals. for drug abuses despite similar rates of drug use across racial groups. This disparity has persisted and even increased over the years. How does this even happen? It's over policing, over criminalization. The United States has a high rate of arrests, with police arresting someone every 3 seconds. This over policing disproportionately affects communities of color and often leads to unnecessary escalation, injury, and death. Over policing, like you're speeding and you should get pulled over if you're speeding, right? An estimation of 60 miles per hour, and you're black and you're in a fancy car, but it could lead to unnecessary escalation, just like with Tyreek Hill face, just like what Colin Kaepernick was trying to bring awareness to that got him blackballed because he was just trying to say, hey, look, this American institution is kind of biased towards people of color. There are also mental health impact, right? And this often doesn't get talked about. And I could talk about it personally. Negative experiences with law enforcement have significant mental health consequences for communities of color. High levels of fear and mistrust between these communities and the police have been documented. I don't trust no police. Look, I've been pulled over by the cops numerous times. Numerous times. I used to live in an area where I was pulled over 5-6 times a year. And it wasn't like I had a fancy car. I had a 2004 Runner. Now, it was fancy in 2003, 4, 5, 6. By the time we got to the 2010s and 2015s, it wasn't fancy anymore. I was still getting pulled over so much, I decided to stop driving. And you may say to yourself, Bruce, why were you getting pulled over? For BS, for being in a certain area and looking a certain way. Because I never got any tickets. Never nothing. Just suspicious. And I'm not suspicious. I'm just big and black. That's all I am. But it's created an incredible fear. So much so that to the point where every now and then, if I am driving and there's a cop anywhere around me driving, my anxiety shoots up through the roof. I've had panic attacks because I never know what my interaction is going to be. Let me give you a prime example. GW Parkway is a parkway here in the DC area. It is 2 lanes one way and it's 2 lanes the other way. There are no pull-off sections to those 2 lanes. It's grass, right? And barriers. But when you're driving along GW, if you're on the Virginia side, there are certain tourist scenes that's maybe a couple of miles apart, right? So I'm driving in my truck. I'm actually heading to my parents' house to celebrate my 25th or 26th birthday. I got my Dwayne Wade jersey on. I got my diamonds in my ear. I got my chain on. I got my music playing. I'm just living a good life, right? Cops behind me throw up the signs. There's no place for me to pull over. I put my hazards on. I slow down and I wait for there's a safe turn off for me. Legally, I'm allowed to do that. When I pull off into the safe area, I have my ID and registration in my lap, my hands on the steering wheel. Window is already down. Cop comes up to me and I say, hello, officer, how can I help you? You're going to jail. That's what you're going to do. For what? Why would I be going to jail? Because you didn't pull over when I told you to. First of all, you didn't tell me to pull over. I turned down my music when your lights were on. I put on my hazards and slowed down. I wasn't evading you. I was pulling over to a safe space. You know that I'm in the right. Why am I being pulled over? Well, there's a flap on the back of your truck. Excuse me? A flap on the back of the truck? Yeah, it looks like something's hanging out of your trunk like a piece of paper. That's literally why he pulled me over. That's the reason why I have a fear of cops. He threatened to take me to jail because he was going to say that I was evading the police when I was driving less than 15 miles an hour with my hazards on and pulled over when it was safe to pull over. This is what creates a fear. And all those actions are my legal right. because I've talked to lawyers. I know what I'm supposed to do when I get pulled over. That doesn't mean that that couldn't have gone left because he had his hand on his gun and I was scared. I was scared for my life. And that's created an anxiety and fear every time I have an interaction with the police because I don't know how the police are going to respond to me. I'm a giant black man. And at any time, they could just feel like they're in danger because I'm a giant black man. And instead of de escalating the situation, they can escalate it. And what sucks is even after George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Dante Wright, there's been resistance to reforms. While there have been some reforms in policing, there's also been significant resistance and backsliding. Case in point, the point I've made several times during this segment of Donald Trump trying to give police immunity. Efforts to right-size policing and address disparities have faced constant challenges. These examples illustrate an ongoing systemic issues within law enforcement that continue to affect marginalized communities. Minorities. That's what marginalized communities mean. Minorities, for those that don't understand it. So, yes, when Tyreek Hill situation happened on Sunday, as the games went on, the 1:00 games went off, the 4:00 games came on, Colin Kaepernick came rushing to me. And I said, this is exactly what he was talking about. And here we are 8 years later, even after George Floyd, where everybody put up the little black sign on your social media. People were even saying Black Lives Matter. And the NFL even had Black Lives Matter in their end zone just 4 years after Colin Kaepernick took a knee to just bring attention and awareness to the disparities of policing on marginalized communities. And boy, we've kind of come some far, some way. Tyreek Hill is getting universal support that they understand that the cops were the ones in the wrong because they escalated a situation that was something as simple as giving a man a speeding ticket. All right, I got to bring the temperature down on the show a little bit because I was a little tense in the last segment, and it's a real issue. We don't skirt the real issues. We talk about them here. If you want to learn, I'm here to try and give you the information. Everybody knows that I do thorough research before I talk about anything on here. And I did thorough research for the next topic I'm going to talk about, and that's riding bikes. Bucket naked. So I came across this article. It was a headline first. And I said, what? Philly naked bike ride? I was like, what the hell is this? So clicked on the article, read the article, and then did more research because I was so fascinated by this. So the Philly Naked Bike Ride is an annual event that has been taking place since 2009. Y'all want to know some fun details about it? Because I thought it was fun. And I'm going to give it to you anyway, because that's what this whole segment is about. So the purpose is the ride promotes cycling as a greener alternative to gas-dependent transportation and spreads a message of body positivity. Now, we all know that we need to have greener alternatives, and body positive is a major thing because Lizzo be promoting body positivity, and I'm all for body positivity, right? Naked bike riding, I need to know more. What is the participation? The event follows a Bear As You Dare dress code, meaning participants can choose their level of nudity. Many cyclists paint their bodies with fun costumes and decorate their bikes. The route covers 12 miles through Philadelphia, including landmarks like Benjamin Franklin Parkway, City Hall, and the Rittenhouse Square. Now, I, during the pandemic, took up bike riding. And for those that have followed my personal page, or have gone on my personal page, I have certain images of the bike routes that I took, how long I would ride. It was a cathartic thing for me. It was very relaxing. It was almost euphoric in the relaxation that it gave me. So I really enjoyed bike riding, and I rode a bike twice a week. No, I rode the bike actually 5 to 6 times a week, but I did long rides twice a week. And when I say long rides for me, 25, 30, 35. I think the longest I went was almost 40 miles one afternoon. So I really enjoyed bike riding. When I first started bike riding, I my one of my aunts nicknames me Caboose because unfortunately for me and for all of my pants and jeans and things of that nature, I have a rather large posterior. It served me well when I was boxing out opponents to grab rebounds when I was playing basketball. It does not serve me well now. It did not serve me well when I was riding a bike. And when you ride a bike, when you truly ride like a real bike, you can't just get on there with just any old type of pants or shorts or things of that nature. The seat is going to really hurt your butt, especially if you're riding for anything longer than a couple of miles. It hurts. So there are special biking shorts that you can use that puts padding in your booty so that you don't hurt your booty. And it's very, very important. And I live and died by that padding. I wore that padding all the time, looked like I had a diaper. Looked like I had a diaper. And I would ride to the mall in Washington and where the Lincoln Memorial is and all that stuff. And sometimes I would take a quick break there and just enjoy the mall and the monuments and look like I was wearing a diaper. But you know what? My ass wasn't sore. That was kind of important. What I can't imagine is riding 12 miles without those shorts, with my bare ass on the seat and my pickle and olives. I could probably come up with a better word than olives. That's just what popped into my head right now. We just go roll with it. They're bigger than olives though. But anyway, and my cucumber. My cucumber and my olives just dangling. That's brave. It's not brave, Brave. That's brave with an F. That's a different type of brave. I applaud them. I wouldn't be able to do it. But hey, the best of them. What are some of the event highlights? There are the pre-ride activities where participants often gather for body painting and other pre-riding activities before they set off. There's a community spirit of it. The event has grown into one of the largest on the East Coast in the world bike ride movement. That's the thing that I learned, that it's a movement. Now, I have seen certain things where people are outside riding bikes naked. I didn't know it was a movement, so this was something that I learned. And once again, I'm still trying to understand how you can ride a bike naked for 12 miles and your ass not hurt. Mine is hurting just thinking about it. But anyway, what is the safety and conduct? There is a code of conduct to ensure that the event is safe and enjoyable for everyone. While full nudity is allowed, lewd acts are not permitted. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be somewhat professional, but of course lewd acts would be permitted. Here's some interesting facts. There's no registration fee. There's no sign up, registration, or entry fee for the ride. You can just come bucket naked like you want to and ride the bike. Once again, I don't know how your ass can bear, but okay, what is the legal status, right? Because isn't there decency laws about being nude? The ride is considered a protest, so participants are not cited or arrested for nudity. I didn't realize that you could be nude while protesting. That's a hell of a protest. A lot of protests would probably get a little bit more attention if people was out there being nude. I know I would pay more attention. because I like nudity, other people's nudity. The Philly naked bike ride generally receives a mixed reactions from local businesses and residents. What are the positive reactions? Supportive businesses. Some local businesses embrace the event, seeing it as an opportunity to attract customers and promote their services. They often have special deals or host pre ride activities. Hell yeah, if you're a business owner and you know that there's going to be a major event that's going to be a lot of eyes being drawn to this event, you're going to find some way to sponsor, promote, do specials, anything to get your company out there. That is smart, right? Another thing is cheering onlookers. Now, realizing that people are definitely going to be cheering and onlookers, but I remember being in Miami with my girlfriend at the time. This was 2001. I was there for spring break with my girlfriend because she was from Miami. And I had heard that there was a new beach in Miami. And I said, hey, I want to check out the new beach because, I'm almost 21 years old. I've never experienced a new beach before. I want to check out. I want to see some breasts. I mean, at that time, porn wasn't readily available. I mean, it was, the internet was out there, but not like it is now, right? And I mean, I did have a girlfriend and she had really big breasts, so I got to see those. But sometimes you want to see another person's breasts. Other than your girlfriends, because you've seen them all the time and you want to see somebody else's. So I wanted to go to Nudie Beach. And let me just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the Nudie Beach isn't what you expect. I thought it would be a nudie beach like when I saw nudie beaches in the movies, Bikini Summer or Bikini Car Wash or Bikini Car Company and things of that nature. Bikini Drive In, all the bikini movies that were being showed on USA Up All Night. It wasn't that. It was like a nudist colony where like it was a bunch of people that weren't really in shape being nude, and it wasn't enjoyable. And I said, "Ew, let's get the hell out of here." And we did. And I went to go have me a Cuban sandwich and couldn't keep it down because I was thinking about the nasty, out of shape, nude people at the nude beach. So when I hear about this new bike ride, I know there are some people out there that are in shape because you got to be in shape to ride 12 miles. 12 miles is harder than what you think. It's not like running 12 miles. It's not that hard, but it's harder than what you think, right? So you got to be in some type of shape. But I've seen some bike riders that, they're not aesthetically pleasing. So yeah, there might be some onlookers, and that is a positive response to the ride. People that are cheering, and many of the residents and onlookers cheer on the participants and enjoy the festivity and the quirky atmosphere. But also, you're gonna see some things that you didn't want to see. There's some people that's going out there to see certain things, like a young Bruce going to that nudist beach and realize I shouldn't have came here. There have been some concerns and challenges, traffic disruptions. Some residents expressed concern about the traffic disruptions and the road closures during the event. As somebody that's here right outside the DC area, they always have events where they're shutting down Arlington, which is Arlington Cemetery, the Pentagon, right there for different events. And it's like you can't get in and out of there. It is a pain, but they're always doing an event that is for a good cause. So you just ride with it. And then there are people that have just mixed feelings. Some people appreciate the message of body positivity and environmental awareness, but others feel uncomfortable about public nudity. And yeah, I can kind of get that. But reminds me of a young Bruce at that nudist colony, at the nudist beach, young Bruce. But young Bruce put himself in that position. These people are just like, hey, I was trying to take my kids to the park. I didn't know it was a Philly naked bike ride. And now my kid got to see the Philly naked bike ride. I would say pay attention to your surroundings, pay attention to what's going on. But yeah, I mean, that's a legitimate concern. But overall, the Philly naked bike rider has become well known and anticipated with generally positive reception. I found that fascinating. We don't have anything like that in the DC area. Everybody here is too uptight. So something like that probably wouldn't happen. There's always somebody here that's got a problem with something. We barely have any really good strip clubs anymore. We used to have the best, but we don't have them anymore. That kind of sucks. I'd love to go to a good strip club again. Anyway, I'm moving off topic. feeling naked bike ride. I thought that was interesting. I also thought it was funny, and I still don't get how you can ride a bike naked. I rode a bike with a pillow on my ass. So I just don't get it. But hey, look, more power to them. Great cause. I like it. I'm telling you though, there's some people out there that you don't want to see naked, and that's the problem. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for watching. And until next time, as always, I'll hop. That was a hell of a show. Thank you for rocking with us here on Unsolicited Perspectives with Bruce Anthony. Now, before you go, don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, comment, and share our podcast wherever you're listening or watching it to it. Pass it along to your friends. If you enjoy it, that means the people that you rock with will enjoy it also. So share the wealth, share the knowledge, share the noise. And for all those people that say, well, I don't have a YouTube. If you have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can actually watch our video podcast. But the real party is on our Patreon page, After Hours Uncensored and Talking Straight-ish. After Hours Uncensored is another show with my sister. And once again, the key word there is uncensored. Those are exclusively on our Patreon page. Jump onto our website at unsolicitedperspective.com for all things us. That's where you can get all of our audio, video, our blogs, and even buy our merch. And if you're really feeling genuine and want to help us out, you can donate on our donations page. Donations go strictly to improving our software and hardware so we can keep giving you guys good content that you can clearly listen to and that you can clearly see. So any donation would be appreciative. Most importantly, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for listening and watching and supporting us. And I'll catch you next time. Audi 5000. Peace.